This is Diana Block, your online instructor, and welcome to week 2 of Business Analysis Techniques. This is BS350, and this is week 2 of the summer quarter 2014. And this is Monday morning for me, so good morning. I'm not sure when you're listening to the video. But for week 2, we're going to read chapter 2. And the chapter 2 PowerPoint is attached here. I highly encourage you to download that PowerPoint and go through that because there's examples of all of this week's problems in the PowerPoint. So I also have noted here some sections you'll want to pay special attention to in week 2. So for the assignments this week, you do have discussion required this week. And in the discussion, you're going to talk about how you can apply probability concepts to your personal or professional life. And in fact, we use probability all the time in our daily life, both personal and professional. So you're going to talk about that in your discussion. Then we've got an assignment here. And you're going to open this worksheet, and there's 5 problems in here that you're going to complete based on the study in chapter 2. So let's go ahead and take a look at those assignments. And here's the first problem. And we've got some information about 300 students and the various grades that they've earned. So we want to calculate the probability for a student receiving any particular grade. So when you read through chapter 2, you're going to read about how to calculate a relative probability like this. And the instructions were on about page 35 of the e-textbook. So when I give page numbers, I'm talking about the e-book. So here's, for example, is our e-book. I'm talking about this page number right here. A hard copy of the book, everything may not be on the same pages, but I'm referring to the electronic book here. So when I give a page number, that's the page number I'm referring to. So where were we? On the assignment. That's not it. Here it is. Okay, so you're going to see an example of this exact type of problem on about page 35 in your textbook. So as you're going through the reading, make sure you mark that. But you're going to be able to calculate the probability of a student getting an A or B, C, D, or F based on the number of students that we have that have already earned that grade. And basically, the short version is you're going to take the number of students who got an A divided by the total number of students who took the quiz. Total number of students who got a B by the total number of students who took did the assignment, etc. So when you, as a check to yourself, you should be able to add up here all of these probabilities, and they should sum to 100%. But you're going to read about that in chapter 2, and you're going to follow the example on page 35. So the second problem here is also a probability problem, but what we're going to do different is we're going to determine the average that we would expect to sell. So we're going to determine an average from this probability information we're given here. So we don't need to calculate the probability of getting each of these results. So if we sell 0 loaf, we already are told that it's a 5% probability of that happening. 15% probability of selling 1 loaf, 20% probability of selling 2 loaves, etc. So we already have that information. What we will need to do is you're going to find some information on page about 37 that's going to help you with this. But you're basically going to multiply the probability times the event that has that probability. So for example, the probability of selling 1 loaf is 15%, so you'll multiply that times 1. And you'll do that for each of these lines. You'll multiply the occurrence of the event times the probability that it will occur. And so maybe about here is where you'll put those solutions. And then to get the average number, you're going to add these results up and put the answer here, and that's going to be your average number of loaves. But go through chapter 2. Pay special attention to page 37. That's where you're going to see an example of this type of problem for problem 2. When you get to problem 3, you are going to use an Excel function. Oops, what I do? Okay, you're going to use an Excel function when you get to problem 3, and here we go. Okay, you're going to use an Excel function called binomial distribution, and you're going to find this information. Well, the information is on several pages, but the actual Excel instructions are going to be on page 40 of the e-textbook. So leading up to page 40, probably about page 37 through 39 is where they're going to explain binomial distribution and how you use it and what it's used for. And then about page 40, you'll see the instructions for how to have Excel calculate binomial distribution for you. So what's going on with this problem is that you are asking Excel to calculate for you the probability that some of these products will be defective. So you'll read the whole problem up here in blue. And it's going to tell you that normally 5% of all cases are defective, and they're going to sample 10 cases. So you're supposed to find the probability that so many cases will be defective, the probability that 2 cases will be defective, or up to 2 cases will be defective. And so you're going to have instructions on how to use the binomial distribution function in Excel, and it's the binom.dist. That's the function that you're going to use in Excel. And you will use the information that is given in this problem to have Excel tell you the probability of these situations. And again, page 40 is where you'll find the exact Excel instructions, but you're going to read all of the sections that I've listed in chapter 2 to explain all of these items for you. I'm just giving you a brief preview now so that you kind of know what you're looking for, but all of this will make much more sense after you actually do the reading. But the function you're going to use on problem 3 is the binomial distribution function, so look for those instructions on page 40. So then on problem 4, we're going to use another cool Excel function called normal distribution. And so with normal distribution, we're going to find the probability of our sales being more or less than a certain amount. And so you'll read the problem here. We're selling some sort of fruit, and we are given information about our average sale and our standard deviation. So we'll use that information to solve these problems here. And you're going to use the normal distribution function. You're going to read the Excel instructions for that on page 46, and the few pages prior to that will explain to you what normal distribution means and how it's used. And then the actual Excel instructions and illustrations are on page 46 of the e-textbook. So then the last problem, problem 5, you're going to use an Excel function called exponential distribution. And those instructions are going to be on page 50, and the pages prior to that will explain exponential distribution to you and how it's used. And this is something that is used a lot of times for queuing, such as in a call center. And that's what this problem is. It tells you how long a typical call takes, and it tells you the amount of calls per minute. And you're going to find out the probability that a call is going to take less than 2 minutes or less than 5 minutes or more than 10 minutes. And exponential distribution will do that for you. So one thing I want to point out on this one is the time. It says a typical call takes 4 minutes to complete. So in other words, for 1 minute, you would normally have 0.25 of a call, a quarter of a call per minute, because a call takes 4 minutes. So you want to be careful when you do this one as to how you reference the amount of time. Okay, so again, once you've read the chapter and reviewed the PowerPoints, all of this will make a lot more sense for you, but I just want to give you some things to look out for before you get started. So those are the 5 problems that you'll complete this week for the assignment. And then you'll also, like I said, complete the discussion. down here in your additional learning resources, there are some great videos. There's an example of the binomial distribution function and the normal distribution function. These are going to be very helpful if you've never used those functions before, because in those we walk exactly through how to enter the information for those two problems. So if you need that help, of course, go ahead and access those two videos. And that'll give you, like I said, the direct instructions for how to use those functions. And the exponential distribution function is very similar. And you also have the textbook website here where you can take practice quizzes and search for topics. So I will leave you at that. We've been talking for 10 minutes. I don't want to bore you. So if you have any additional questions, then of course just send me an email and I'll get it back to you within 24 hours, and usually in much less time than that. And I look forward to talking with you in the discussion area. Have a great week.